Hello guys, welcome to the ABC podcast. ABC, what does that stand for?
We've called it ABC because we are about to get cancelled. The reason
to be cancelled.
Yeah,
ABC.
about to be cancelled. The reason why we say that is because we're just going to speak our mind, and people in this generation don't like that. So we feel like we're about to be cancelled.
And this is going to be the one and only episode because of that, because we're going to get cancelled off the internet. We're going to get sacked from our jobs. You know what? We can't get sacked from our jobs, so it doesn't matter. So listen in tightly, guys, because you're not going to get any more episodes. We'll see how long we last, right, Tony?
See how long we can go for.
Right, we've got two fantastic cigars here as well. So we've got a Cohiba Esplendidos. I actually looked it up last night.
Esplendidos.
I don't actually think they do them anymore.
Okay, so tell the story.
My dad's 20 years ago, he went to Cuba. And I was only a kid then, so I was 20. Yeah, I'm 29 now, so I was 9 years old. And I remember seeing photos of him on, like, was it Facebook back then? I can't even remember. With my uncle.
Probably back then, MySpace. Or
MySpace, mate. Or like a
Bebo
Word document.
Yeah, pigeon carrier.
Yeah, he sent a picture over by pigeon.
And
my mum showed me the picture, and he had some cigars in his mouth. Well, not multiple cigars. Him and my uncle, and he brought a bunch back 20 years ago, and I didn't even know about it. So I got into cigar smoking about year and a half ago or something like that. I really like my fine cigars, and he pulls them out of the shed and he's like, "Oh, Dominic, do you like these?" And they're Cohiba Esplendidos ones. How sick is that?
They are very, very old. Very nice. Very nice.
Before you guys
very
say
strong.
They're crunchy and crispy and like moldy, I've rehydrated them in a humidor, so they should be pretty tasty.
So they're not shriveled up anymore.
But these are like 150-pound cigars. They are very, very nice. It's top of the range.
It is nice, to be fair.
Right, let's introduce ourselves, Tony. So, how did we meet? Let's start with that story.
Cool. So a couple of years back, I was looking for some change, feeling a bit depressed at the time. Let's say just not long after the back of the pandemic, I'd stopped my work and feeling a bit shit really. And I started working in a new job, new office, and I met Dom. I used to see Dom passing by.
No. So tell the story as it is, mate. I used to be PTing people. I used to have my clients in the evening, and you'd come in with like two Eastern European bitches, and you'd be teaching them how to box. And I'd look in the corner of my eye, I'd see this guy, this absolute Don with his two bitches, and I'd think, who the fuck is that guy? But anyway, I'd see you kind of semi-training with them, and because the workout hub, for you guys that don't live in Peterborough, it's this gym that is in like a fucking shed basically. It's got no windows, absolute hole of a gym. So the clientele there were not the best looking people, were they? So you get two like semi-decent average looking girls, you notice things like that, and then you notice a man like Tony walking in with them. Get off Tinder, mate.
I don't do things like that.
He doesn't do things like that. He's straight as an arrow.
Straight as an arrow. If I went on Tinder, it would shut down.
Yeah, because of all the harassing comments you'd send to everyone.
It'd be like Baby Reindeer times a million.
Baby Reindeer, that girl was a freak, mate. Fucking hell.
But just to clarify, Baby Reindeer is a replica of Dom's ex, Dom's childhood wife, childhood sweetheart. She looks like her, sounds like her.
What do you think happens in boarding school, mate? Had Baby Reindeer grow?
Definitely not women touching you.
All boys boarding school.
Let's get on to that, Dom. You went to boarding school. Why did you go to boarding school?
Well, it's not my choice, is it, mate? I was a child.
What was the story? What happened?
Well, my parents did well. We were living out in Saudi Arabia, so my parents worked for the oil company Saudi Aramco. The schools out there are fucking shit, awful.
Yeah.
So I went to a British grammar school out there, and it's just like the stuff they were teaching. It wasn't really the curriculum. My parents saw that, and they thought they wanted me to get out of there and get a proper education.
Okay.
And obviously, if they're out in Saudi Arabia, the only real option is to send me to a boarding school, because where else am I going to stay during term time? And they obviously wanted me to go to a good British school. So my dad comes from Shrewsbury, and there's a boarding school called Shrewsbury School. So I went there and spent 5 years there, and the rumours are true, mate.
The rumours are true? So let's just ask, did you get touched as a kid at boarding school?
Nah, mate, I was too strong. Fucking beat them up.
Did you have any Pedo Kennedy teachers there?
Okay, so Can I tell this story? There were always rumours of teachers being pedos.
It's all coming out.
Now, disclaimer, I didn't get touched. And,
Go on.
that's why I'm so fucked in the head.
Go on,
No,
what
no.
happened, Dom?
There were always rumours. Obviously, I'm not going to name people, but there were always rumours that, like, oh, this teacher did that, and that happens out of term time, whatever. But I never personally saw anything really dodgy. The main story that I heard that was a little bit weird was about the vicar who was there when I was.
The vicar.
The vicar. It's always the vicar.
That
isn't
old
it?
chestnut. Right.
No. So he wasn't a pedo, mate. He wasn't a pedo.
Okay.
But I always thought he was a bit overly friendly with all the other kids. So he kind of spoke in like a high-pitched voice. He's like, ooh, you know, like this. And he would invite. He was the one that ran the wine tasting club. Of course, boarding school posh kids. There's a fucking wine tasting club.
Wait,
right?
so hang on, let me get this straight. So they got the kids at boarding school tasting wine with the nonce vicar.
No, he wasn't a nonce, mate. He was just a bit eccentric.
Okay.
I never actually did the wine tasting, but he used to
Sounds
push
a bit dodgy, mate. Sounds a bit dodgy,
but it's
mate.
not. He would push the boundaries a little bit.
What do you mean by that?
No, as in like, there were set times where you were meant to be wine tasting as your extracurricular activity, but I think he's a lonely guy and he liked having company, so they used to stay a little bit later sometimes, these kids.
Well, how old were they? Why were they drinking wine?
Yeah,
with
okay,
the-
this is
with
where it
the
gets a bit
vicar?
weird, obviously, because they're like between the ages of 13 to 18.
Wow.
Then they're not like getting pissed on wine or anything, but it was wine tasting, so you'd have like a few sips, taste the wine, he'd teach you how to, you know, do proper wine tasting.
Yeah. Have a few sips of wine, and then you wake up with a sore arsehole.
Disclaimer, I never woke up with a sore arsehole at boarding school, so if anyone's listening from
Yeah.
boarding school, it's me.
Do you believe any of the rumours?
I genuinely believe, from the bottom of my heart, he was just a little bit of an eccentric guy, because one of
Yeah.
my best friends was really close with him and saw him as a bit of a mentor. And one of my close friends, who was not gay, who is 100% straight and not into vicars,
Yeah.
thinks he's an outstanding guy. So I'm going to go on the word of my mate and say that he was just a bit eccentric, not a pedo. But I always got a little bit of a weird vibe from him.
You got a weird vibe. You must have been an ugly kid, Dom, if he didn't want to touch you.
Maybe he wasn't into Chinese.
Dom's like, there's no nonsense here. They ain't touched me.
Yeah, if it didn't happen to me, it can't be true, you know?
Was you quite a skinny kid, would you say? Was you a small kid?
You know what, I look back and I say I'm skinny, but I wasn't like anorexic skinny. So like you see these people on TikTok, they're really, really skinny. I was skinny, but I was playing sport. You know, I play a little bit of rugby here and there. I was the goalkeeper in football. But my main thing was I probably lacked a little bit of confidence. So I probably thought I was skinnier than I was. And I took inspiration from like some fitness influencers that I saw on YouTube. And I thought, oh yeah, you know what? If I get buff, that's going to be the solution to my confidence. That's going to get me girls. That's going to get me like high paid job. It's going to solve all my problems.
Did you do well with girls at school?
There were girls in sixth form,
Yeah.
but not really. There was like...
Was you quite shy as a kid?
I was shy when I was younger, but by sixth form time, I think I came out of my shell a little bit.
Yeah.
And obviously, the person I am now, I'm not really shy at all.
No.
I kind of go through phases. I think the natural person that I am is quite shy, and I'm quite an introverted guy. But I think through experience in life, talking to people, getting myself in situations where I have to talk, it brings out the more extroverted side of me. So that's probably the person you see more of nowadays. But I could quite easily be that nerdy kid that sits in his mum's basement. I could be that guy.
You said you liked science, didn't you?
I didn't like science, mate. It was shit.
I thought you was a bit of a science geek.
I was a science geek. I was talented.
Right.
I was really good at science, but I would fucking geek. Loser. Nah, I was good at it. I didn't like it. I found it flipping boring, to be honest, mate. You know, the person I am now,
Yeah.
this is something I really am proud of myself for. The person I am now is the person that I wanted to become when I was younger. So I've made that happen through going down that path. I think I could have easily gone down the science geek route. And look, there's nothing wrong with that,
Nah.
but I never wanted that.
When you was a kid, staying on this, would you say that you felt a little bit insecure? Was you good with girls? Was you quite shy?
I was good with girls by the time I got to uni. I was all
Yeah,
right.
but when you was younger, because by the time you got to uni, you're a bit older, you got a bit more about you.
I wouldn't know, mate. There weren't any girls at my school.
Oh shit!
Just vicars.
Just
I wasn't good with the vicars.
Okay, so at uni, what changed you at uni? Because you must have gone from being, I can only imagine this, because we've come from different backgrounds, right? And if you went to an all-boys school, you didn't really have much interaction with girls as a child.
Nah.
Yeah. See, whereas where I come from a young age, obviously not primary school, but secondary school, like you are around a lot of girls and you start to explore, and then you're going out. I mean, from about 13, we was going out drinking in the streets and doing things with girls and stuff. Like, we've started very, very young.
Yeah.
And it's only because of the circumstances around and the upbringing, not the upbringing from family, but the area you grow up in. I grew up in quite a rough area, let's say. So I can only imagine that my childhood was a lot different to yours.
Way different, bro. I can imagine.
But would you say though that, like, obviously you must have gone to uni like with zero confidence with girls if you hadn't ever really spoke to them?
I don't know, mate. I weirdly didn't really lack confidence at uni. I have no idea why. I think gym was a big factor in that, to be fair.
Had you already started going gym before you went to uni?
I'd done gym for about a year and a half before going to uni. So I felt like body confident.
Yeah.
And I think the body confidence gave me a little bit more outward confidence, because I wasn't worrying about the way people perceive me.
Yeah.
Which then means that I can be a bit more of myself during social interactions. And I think I was a fairly good looking guy, so I did all right with girls. But I was always more of a relationship guy. So I got into a relationship really quickly at uni. And I think that kind of stagnated me a little bit. She was a nice girl, but it stagnated my growth in a way, because I see this a lot with young couples, especially.
Yeah.
They get into a relationship quite young, and they just get really comfortable. They don't grow in any way. They don't work on themselves. They don't try and elevate themselves.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is the fear of elevating yourself above your partner, because I've also seen a lot of situations where one person goes on a journey of self-discovery, and she or he feels like they become too good for their partner and then ends up leaving them. A lot of the time it's the woman. I feel like the woman leaves the man because she feels like she's too good for him.
Yeah, I think that it's when guys start to distance themselves from their friends. I think when I was younger, we had such a good friendship circle, and it was all about boys being boys, and not any of us really got into relationships. We was mostly focused on, I guess because a lot of the area we was in, there was a lot of older boys for us to hang around with. So as young guys, we had people to look up to, and we used to see how they operated, and they were like real alpha men. Like, well, they weren't men; they were young themselves, but they were, to us, they were alpha men.
I never had that, which is a huge difference, and I think I've discovered myself a little bit later because of that. But you carry on.
Yeah, so we had older guys to look up to. It was a rough area I grew up in, and you had to grow up quickly anyway. I mean, there was times when I remember we had quite a lot of Iraqi guys move into the area, and they were fucking, I don't know what happened, but something happened to one of their friends. He must have got beaten up by some of the lads in the area.
Yeah.
And they were just blanket targeting any of the boys from the area. So there was times when they were chasing us with knives, and we would have been like 13 years old. Like, remember walking home, like thinking, I need to get home, but I've got to walk past a house where there's about 5 of them in. So you had to be quite streetwise. You had to grow up fast. You learned a lot from the older boys, and it was all about sort of loyalty and respect. Even now, like if I go back to Westwood now, everybody's still the same. Yeah. Everybody still respects you. Nobody mocks you for what you're doing or anything like that. It was just all about love and respect.
It's community.
Yeah, and if you disrespected your elders, you would have got a slap, you know. So you learnt that loyalty, you learnt that respect. But it grew me up fast. It made me very, very streetwise, I would say. And to the point where, and kind of like a bit of a celebrity status as well. Like, I remember there was a guy in particular, I'm not going to mention names, but there was a guy in particular that a lot of people in Peterborough knew. And he was quite like, almost like famous, you know. Everybody knew his name, he had such a big reputation. And so we used to chase reputation because of them, you know. Yeah. And I went out with him, I was about 15, and I was able to get in clubs with him because he was so well respected. And it'd be like people were shaking my hand because I was with him.
Yeah.
And that stood out to me as a young boy, that fucking, you know, respect and status is so much more powerful than anything else.
And I've only learnt that since probably 25 onwards.
Yeah.
And in a way, I almost, like, it's funny because I come from a real posh background, rich parents.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would look at my background and think like, yeah, I've had it all.
Yeah.
But I look at your background sometimes and think the lessons you learn from having the need to have respect and status teaches you a lot more about masculinity than growing up in this really sheltered life. Because I didn't care about status.
Yeah.
I didn't care about what job I had. I was just like bumming around at uni doing my science degree because it was the thing to do.
Yeah.
And I always did what was told of me, but there was always that little spark inside of me that wanted to become something else.
Yeah.
And I've become that person now, but I think I would have become that person a lot quicker if I was kind of let out of that sheltered life from a young age, and you learnt it really, really quickly.
Learned it early, but also as well, it was like, for me, I was building my own status. I had my own nickname that like other people knew, and like every time when we started to get to the age where we were going town, and it was my sort of close circle of 5 from the area, you know, everyone would shake our hands and we felt like celebrities. And I realised then, I think, from a young age, like I didn't know what that brings, but then, you know, I never could work it out, if I'm completely honest. I was never the best looking geezer in the world. I'm not exactly 6 foot, blah, blah, blah.
How tall are you?
Like 5'6".
He's done well with the ladies. So any short kings listening to this,
yeah.
you're not defined by your height. You're defined by your confidence
and status. And because we had that, like the only thing I was ever bothered about was, you know, the boys that were with me, I knew they 100% had my back. And so that gave me a level of confidence that you can't get any other way. Like if I'm in a club and I've got even 2 of my circle with me and 10 guys tried something, I would feel fine. Like I'd feel invincible with them 2 behind my back.
You know they would cover you.
And we would, you know, we would do it all the time. We would scrap all the time and we'd come out unscathed, you know, so we were fine with that sort of stuff. But also then you have that level of confidence, and birds just notice it. Girls, they see it. Like, and I never knew why, but I would just be like, because I was so blasé with them, like I didn't give a fuck. Because I wasn't there to pull. I was out with my mates and we had that status. And
but that made them more attracted to you, didn't it? 100% did.
100%, yeah. And I didn't know why, but yeah, it was just that level of don't give a fuck. I've got my boys with me and that's all that matters. And I think as you get older, you start to lose that a little bit. And I think that's when men start to drop off because they don't have that friendship circle behind them where, let's say, you split up with a bird, you can call your mates up normally and be like, right, let's go here, let's go there, let's do this. And that's enough for guys to just bounce back quickly. But when you start to get a bit older and you lose that, you realise how much you took it for granted as a kid. Because then it's harder, then you're on your own, and then you start turning to things like gambling and fucking anything to take the pain away.
Or you just start gaming all the time and you sit at home, you watch Netflix with your wife, with your one child, and you always feel like semi-depressed. I see a lot of men like that who come to me for fitness advice.
Absolutely. I think
nothing wrong with that, by the way, if people enjoy that, but I do think men are there to achieve and there to drive the tribe forwards in a way. You think back to when we lived in tribes.
It's a competitiveness.
Yes.
If I'm with my mates, then subconsciously we're always competing. Like,
and it drives you forward more.
Drives you forward, 100%. Like I used to, again, from a young age, because I was doing well financially, because I had a good job and stuff. It always stood me out about amongst the others because from 23 I had a Range Rover Sport. I'd bought my first house. Like, so then I got to that age and I was achieving in different ways. It was no longer about having status for doing stupid things. It was about having status because I'm doing well now.
You're successful.
And then the mindset changes, because as a kid it's like you want status because I want to be this well-known hard man and blah, blah, blah and all that bollocks, because that's what you grow up around. But then as you start to come away from that, it's like, well, no, actually I'm getting status and respect now because I'm doing well. And it's like, that's quite a hard concept when you come from such a shithole area. But for you, that might have been different. Everyone was probably always aspiring to do well in your circle, let's say.
Yeah, so everyone, like naturally, I suppose, when they're parents, because the parents became, most people who I hang around had successful parents, had a bit of a growth mindset about them. But then there's also a lot of people, and I probably fell into this category, where because your parents have it made, and you know you're not in any danger, you're always going to have a house, you're always going to do well financially, you're always going to have stability, you lose that drive. And I see it a little bit in my siblings. Like, they don't really do anything that is, getting out there and doing something, like making a success of their lives. They work sort of dead-end jobs and they don't really think about it. And I see a few people from my old school, same age as me, 29, who are doing the same thing. Because they had it made when they were younger, they don't have that drive. And it took me a little while to realise that. You know what it took me to realise was, up until about 22 or so, I was in a really comfortable relationship. I'd had my rent paid for by my parents. I'd had my life really easy, really flipping easy. But I broke up with my first girlfriend, and at that point, I broke up with her because of her body fat percentage. No, I'm joking. She was skinny, mate. She was she was
Baby
alright,
reindeer.
She blown up my phone.
Yes.
Let's move on. Let's change topics. Tell me some funny relationship stories, or they don't have to be relationships, just general girl stories.
Jesus. Obviously, I said a minute ago there was a lot of nights out, a lot of fun over the years.
This is where the about to be cancelled show really starts.
The trouble is, Dom, I don't know if I want to incriminate myself and my mate.
No, mate. The whole point is for us to get cancelled on this. Let's see. Do we want to last lots of episodes, or do we want do we want to go out of a bang with one episode?
Listen, I'm just worried about people thinking bad of me. But but no.
How could they, mate?
Like I say, obviously, when you go out all the time, I never really had relationships as a kid. I'm not going to lie, I didn't. I was just sleeping around with girls.
Completely opposite to me.
Going on lads' holidays, where we'd be sleeping with fucking multiple girls in a week. Do you know what I mean? It was it was that kind of lifestyle, and I just got accustomed to that. I never really wanted to have relationships. So there's a lot, thinking back, there's a lot of funny stories.
Right, any psychos in there? Any wild situations?
No, because when you sleep around with girls, they don't get attached. Like if you sleep with them and don't speak to them again, they're just like whatever. Do you know what I mean? It probably bothers them, but they don't speak to you again.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. There is some really funny ones. There's a story about a wig.
God, yeah, go on. You got to tell me that.
There's a story about a wig. So
the vicar in a wig.
No. It was a genuine girl, and she actually looked quite nice, to be fair.
Yeah. Not in Thailand.
No. This is in
that's a man.
This is in Peterborough.
Okay.
Yeah, she looked quite nice, to be fair. Looked pretty sweet, whatever. Met up with her, took her out for some drinks and whatever. Ended up, obviously, took her home. Obviously. Game level 100.
Big man's on there.
But when we got home, she says, "Do you mind if I take my wig off?" And I was like, "Sorry."
Was she a black girl? Because black girls
no.
have that, don't they?
Nah.
No. Okay.
White girl, attractive, and she goes, "Do you mind if I take my wig off?" Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, "What the fuck?" And she put it on the side, and I obviously got carried on because.
Well, so she this is midway through.
No, it's before, just as we was about to get started. I guess she didn't want me fucking
knocking you away.
ruining her wig. Probably expensive.
Oh my god. So you were in bed with a baldie.
The worst thing about it was though is that I had quite a lot of girl mates at the time, and I'd shown the girls the picture of this girl, like, "Oh, do you think she's all right?" kind of thing. And some of them were hairdressers, yeah.
Okay.
And not fucking one of them noticed that she had a wig on until after the event, when I'd said this is what happened. They were in fucking stitches, and they were like, "Now you say it, I'm looking at her photo and I can tell it's a fucking wig." And I was like, the whole point of me having girl mates, yeah, like that I don't actually bang, is to get this kind of advice and stop this from happening.
Holy shit, bro.
So that was a pretty funny story. There's another story.
Do you like bold women?
No,
Do you
not normally.
I can't say I've been with a bold woman, mate. I like long hair.
It's like looking down at a little boy. Like that nuggy.
Did you fist bump her?
Like, go on, bro.
Yeah, cool, bro. That was good.
Just like that. Oi. That was pretty funny.
Oh, fuck me, man. Did you imagine it was Paul Selman? Shining her head. Come on. Rub it and ask for 3 wishes.
Got some Johnson's baby oil out.
Fucking, what's the genie called in Aladdin? He's just called Genie, isn't he?
Fuck no.
Did he come out?
Yeah.
What'd you wish for?
Fucking that she had some hair.
Oh, fuck.
The worst thing is that like the mates that I was telling you about, they were like, "Did you ask her?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not going to fucking sit there and ask her. What if she had cancer or some shit?"
Oh, shit. So you never found out why she was bald?
No, I didn't ask her.
Oh, I feel bad now, mate, because she could have had a condition. Well, she
Yeah,
probably did have a
maybe.
condition, didn't she?
I didn't ask. Like, look, I wasn't going to ask because it would have been horrible, right? But in fact, after I did message her after and said, "Are you a swimmer by any chance?"
Oh, why?
Streamline.
Did she get it?
She didn't get it. Thankfully.
Savage, mate, savage.
There was another time, this is quite a funny one, see, because when you're single, you have to go through all this fucking bullshit of meeting random people, and you never know who's going to turn up.
Yeah.
And I remember I was talking to a girl from Cambridge, because I'd been working in Cambridge, let's say I used to work away a lot. I'd been working in Cambridge, and you know, you get like fucking Tinder and stuff like that. I was probably only about 19, 20 maybe. So I was still a bit of a fucking young buck. Maybe I was a little bit older. I can't remember when Tinder came out, but I don't know. But yeah, I'd been working in Cambridge. This bird had come up. I'd matched her, explained that I wasn't from Cambridge. I lived in Peterborough, blah, blah, blah. And then she was, I had my own house at the time, and then she was saying she was going to come down. And I was, obviously we'd been chatting. And in her photo, she looked, I wouldn't say good, but she was all right, you know. I was 20-odd-year-old, so I didn't really give a fuck at that time. It was like, oh, whatever. But she was all right, you know. She didn't look bad. And anyway, like leading up to it, like I always overpromise. Like I was like, yeah, you can stay at mine, don't worry about it. But then,
salesman over
then after that, I thought about it, and I thought, actually, you know what it's like when you've slept with someone, like, and you don't really know them. You don't want them fucking hanging around with you all weekend.
No, you don't really.
But for me, it was just like, oh, fuck it. It is what it is. So I got her to come down from Cambridge, and before she come, she was like sending me photos of like her suitcase and that, and I thought, fucking hell, how long's she coming for? Do you know what I mean? I thought,
she's moving in, mate.
Baby reindeer. So I was like, fucking hell. It's a bit weird anyway that she had so much shit with her. But she got the train down from Cambridge.
Girls do that though, like the amount of shit that Madison packs when we go on like a weekend holiday. I'm thinking, do you need all that?
But bro, I'd never met this girl.
Okay.
Like we was literally chatting on a fucking dating app, and she came all the way down from Cambridge, and she got the train down. So I'd pulled up to the train station, and I was thinking, where the fuck is this girl? And in the corner of my eye, I could see this fucking chubby girl.
Oh god. Oh god.
Like chubby girl with a suitcase, and I thought, that's never her. Don't fucking tell me that's her. And she starts ringing my phone, and as my phone started ringing, I could see she was on the phone, that girl that I thought it was. And I was like, no way. And she was like messaging me because I weren't answering. She was messaging me like, what colour car are you in, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there in my blue car. It was a Seat Leon, so I'd got the Ibiza, got rid of that, and then moved to a Leon. It was a blue Leon. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I was sat there, and she was like not too far away. And I was like, fucking hell, that is definitely her. So I quickly drove past her.
Yeah.
Drove past
Opened the
her.
door like a gentleman.
No. I fucking drove off, man. Drove off, went and got myself a McDonald's and went home. And then
was the McDonald's in homage to her because she was overweight?
Yeah, it was just like, fuck it, fatty, I'm gonna eat this McDonald's. So I drove off.
I've never shagged a fatty, mate.
Nah. So I drove off anyway. I felt horrible, but at the end of the day, I was thinking in my head, like, there is not a chance in hell this girl can come to my house and stay for a fucking weekend because she's honking.
Yeah.
And I just thought, like, is it my fault or is it her fault? Like, why are your pictures so different to how you look in reality?
Yeah, you know, I don't like this. When I was single, you go on Tinder.
Yeah.
You almost have like a fatty radar, and it's always the real close-ups with the filters on. And
nah, her body looked good in her photos.
Did she?
They were fucking like not her.
I've only had one experience where that's happened to me. I'll say I'm probably a bit more of a gentleman than you, but it was just after COVID, and she looked all right in the photos, like blonde, pretty, not bad. And messaged her a few times. We decided to go for a walk around Ferry Meadows because you couldn't go for a drink around that time. So I would have took her out for drinks, but we had to go for a walk. I did a lot of dates like that, and met up with her. First thing I see is I look at her and I go, oh shit, man, she's put on some COVID weight, like proper 20 kilos sort of COVID weight.
You're a PT.
And well, it's not even me being a PT. I'm just not attracted to overweight girls. Like I'm not being fattest or whatever. You've got to be attracted to the girl that you're seeing, aren't you?
Yeah.
I just knew straight away I'm not attracted to this girl. But I got out of the car, talked to her, was nice to her.
Fucking braver man than me.
Half an hour. Well, because it's a walk, isn't it? So it's not like she's going to stay at my house all weekend.
Dom's like, fuck it, I'm going to take the fat bitch for a walk around Ferry Meadows.
I was like, right, let's get our 10k steps in.
Why didn't you take the opportunity though and sell her a fucking coaching package? I'm being serious.
Mate, that's good business, isn't it?
Fucking right, take the opportunity.
Oh, I can't do it anymore though because I'm in Madison. But yeah, go on Tinder, match with some fat
Match with fatties.
And then sell them a transformation package.
Say, listen, I'll get to know you, but you've got to be on my coaching program.
Yeah, and then they'll go, oh,
just
how
get
come?
Madison in on it.
What, Madison?
She'll be like...
Coach Madison?
Yeah.
Oh, I know this girl. She's one of my
She'll be like Ghislaine Maxwell.
I know this girl called Madison Coaching, and she's really good at helping people lose weight. But anyway, carry on with the story. Spent half an hour with her, and then I was sat there. The conversation was decent, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I just went, yeah, I've got to go. My mum's making dinner. And
Wow.
she was like, oh, okay.
She's like, can I have some?
Can we get you a takeaway?
You're like, you look like you've had enough, darling.
No, but this is the worst bit. So we now walk back to the cars, and we had to pay for parking at Ferry Meadows, and my Apple Pay wasn't working for some reason. No, actually,
Oh, that old chestnut.
no, generally it wasn't working.
Made her pay for your car
so she had
park.
to pay for my
Fuck
parking.
off.
And I sent her a really awkward message later on, like, "Hey, thanks for that. Really appreciate you paying. Do you want me to send you some money?" And she's like, "No, it's cool." And then I just left the message on red from there. Never spoke to her again.
Oh, mate. You should have just fucking sent her a Deliveroo. She'd have been happy with that.
Should have offered, shouldn't I?
Big Mac meal.
I don't know what you can get for £3 though.
I just don't get why they do it though, because like thinking about it logically, yeah, you're gonna know. Like when you turn up, what do they expect the man's gonna think when they turn up and they're not like they look in their photos?
Well, you know, I think
Let's be honest.
I think they've been sold a bit of a lie, because this whole media agenda is like, accept your body for what it is, and like you're beautiful no matter your size. But unfortunately, men don't think that way. Men are attracted
But listen,
to physicality.
that's fine though if a guy who likes a bigger girl matches a girl that actually portrays herself in that way.
Yeah, I suppose you get what you're selling, don't you? Then.
Absolutely, but like, what's the point in them lying to themselves and lying to everyone else, and then when they get there, they look fuck all like they're supposed to? What do they think the man's going to do? Like, do they think that? Oh, to be fair, some men probably would be desperate enough to just be like, oh fuck it, I'm here now.
You get in dangerous territory there, mate. It's one of my old friends had a good saying: you don't want to get into the territory where you think, it's better than a wank.
It's not. That's the thing.
It's not, is it?
Because it's embarrassing if you sit there and you can't get a fucking hard on. You're like, what are you going to say then? Oh, sorry. It looks better on Tinder.
I couldn't tell what your face looked like. All those filters.
It looks better on Tinder. Sorry about that. Same as your photos.
I've never gone there, mate, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, then you get rinsed by all your mates, don't you, for shagging a fat bird?
Yeah, I mean, listen, me and my mates were pretty savage when we were younger anyway, you know, so when you live in a fucking council estate, the birds ain't exactly high caliber, let's say that.
Yeah.
But then we always used to look at it like this. It's like driving a car, right? We knew, because we hung around with older boys, we learnt quicker, so you grow up faster. And we know it's like driving a car, right? When you first start driving a car, you're not going to go and get straight into a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Because you'll end up crashing it, or you'll fuck it up.
Or
So
you won't be allowed in. That's the main thing. You don't
Yeah.
have enough money for a Ferrari.
Well, yeah, 100%. And it's the same analogy for women. It's like, you know, when you're starting out, you need to fucking drive them bangers. You need to drive the shit cars, the Corsas and whatever, and you upgrade as you get older.
Well,
you
it's
know?
that thing as well. Women don't care. Women don't care about your car, so
Nah.
it doesn't matter, does it?
But what I'm saying is when you first start driving, you get in a
using
shit
the
car.
analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, because you get in a shit car, because if you crash it, it don't fucking matter. Do you see what I mean? It's like, it's cheap insurance and it don't fucking matter. But then as you start getting a bit older, a bit more money, then you start to upgrade your motors, don't you?
100%.
And you go through the motions.
You know what? My advice for young guys would be your first relationship is probably not going to be the one that you stick in for the rest of your life. I see some people that make it last, but they're always a little bit unambitious.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've trained a few girls that, you know, they're with their boyfriend since 16 or whatever. They're always a bit disappointed by them in a way.
Yeah.
I've trained 3. And one of them was in my session. I remember she opened up Hinge during my session. So I don't think she saw me see it, but I saw there was that big H for Hinge. And I was like, you've just told me you're getting married in like a year to your childhood sweetheart who's 16 years old. And then there's another girl. She's getting divorced from her husband. She's like 35 now, and they've been together since they were 16. And it's just because they've gone on a different path.
Yeah.
It's too young to be getting into such a serious relationship, I think.
As well, I think that girls grow as well, like depending on the circumstances. So
And a man's got to grow even faster, I think. But the men that get into relationships when they're 16, a lot of a male's drive comes from wanting to attract a better mate, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So when you take that out of you from the age of 16, there's a very slim chance that you're going to make it big in life.
Well, I think like when girls are young, I think that they, they're attracted to, like say, when you're young, as a man, when you're young, what can give you status? Because you ain't going to have loads of money. You ain't going to be fucking, having an amazing job, an amazing car when you're really young starting out.
Yeah, it's chat, it's confidence and treating them well, isn't it?
But it's status.
Yeah, status.
So the things you get it from as a youngster is popularity, fighting, all the stuff that's like it depends on your circles, but if you come from like a council estate, let's say.
No, it was still always the popular kids that would get all the girls.
But the popular kids often are the ones that can fight, for boys, the ones that can fight, the ones that are,
good at
sport, confident, them type of guys, right? But then as they get a little bit older, that's no longer the appealing thing, because now they're starting to go into the territory where you've got men that are actually earning good money and got good cars and good careers.
There's different status at that age.
So there's different status at that age. So as you go through it, you have to keep leveling up your status.
Yeah.
So to say, when I was young, I had that popularity status anyway, so I could get the girls. But then I realised quickly that as you start to get a bit older, now you're in clubs, there's guys in there in their 30s that are fucking stacked, earning good money and
Look
so on and
good.
so forth. So suddenly you're at the bottom of the food chain again.
Yeah.
But then you rock up and you've got nice clothes on and you've got loads of money and whatever, because you've leveled up, and suddenly that's what keeps you current. But I think when you're a kid and you're with your mates, you just got to fucking go through them experiences. Like, sleep with as many girls as possible and have fun. But don't get fucking locked off with a girl at a young age. Don't have kids, because it's a waste of time.
And don't get chlamydia.
Chlamydia's part of the parcel. Sharing's caring.
It's part of the game.
Sharing's caring.
It's part of the game, isn't it?
Listen, if you get it, you get it along the way. It's nothing. It's a bit different in these days. How they treat it. You get a little tablet, don't you?
Oh my god, I don't know, mate. I've never heard it.
Fuck off, Dom.
I've never heard it, mate. I'm serious.
Virgin.
Because you know what? Nah, sleep with classy birds. That's what it is.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
that?
when you're a kid, you just got to do what you got to do, ain't you?
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose I aged like a fine wine, mate. It was more in my later years that
You got more confident and did more when you got older.
got more confident, looked better. But then the benefit of that is because I'm a bit older, I know what I like. So I'm sleeping with birds that I do like. And I don't know, I always ended up in a relationship quite quickly anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about a funny relationship story. Have you got one?
No,
do you
because
want me to tell you?
I didn't really have relationships. So for me, it's always been single boy doing my own thing, So in terms of actual relationships, I don't. But
Well, okay, so my background's completely different. From like the age of 18 till where I am now, 29, I've almost always been in a relationship, give or take like a few years here and there.
Yeah.
Where, when I first started out as a PT, I was in a relationship for like a good 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But I've got one with my second girlfriend, which we touched on earlier, the psycho bitch.
Baby Reindeer.
Baby, she was baby.
Let's give her a
Reindeer,
code name for the podcast.
AK-47.
AK-47.
Because she was like an AK-47, mate. It's like, what did you do?
Had loads of men shoot at her.
No, not like that, mate. She was all right looking, to be fair. But yeah, I don't know. I'd come out of a relationship. My first girlfriend, who I was with for a long time, and she was a really good girl, and we got on really well. But like I said earlier, we broke up for, I suppose, because I wanted to be a bit more ambitious and try things in life.
Yeah.
And I ended up with her somehow, and she had slight mental health issues. I remember one time, I can't even remember what started it. We were arguing about something, and she fucking chucks a mug at my head, mate. A mug.
What?
And it smashes in the corner. And I'm just there like, what the fuck have you just done? And she's like shoving me and shit. She's going absolutely mental.
What had you done?
I hadn't done anything, mate. I was literally an innocent 21-year-old. So I hadn't been chatting to another girl. I hadn't been... What else would piss off a woman? Not doing the dishes.
Fuck no, didn't reply to her within 5 minutes.
Anything, mate. Come within 5
Left
meters.
the toilet seat up.
No, it was nothing. It was honestly nothing. She chucked a mug at my head because we ended up arguing for a little bit. And then 5 minutes later, she's in the kitchen with a knife to her stomach saying I'm going to kill myself.
Fuck off.
I'm telling you, mate, she had serious
Why don't you
mental health
fucking
issues.
help her? Have some of that, you bitch. Do it properly.
Yeah, don't
Fucking waste
fanny
my
about.
time. Not wasting my time.
But mate, I don't know, because I was a nice kid and I always wanted to see the best in people. And I'm a bit more like streetwise nowadays.
Yeah.
I would go down the route of, she's got mental health issues, but she'll get better. She's doing all the right things. She just never got better. She never changed. She'd like go through periods where she was all right.
Yeah.
And then we'd end up like in mug chucking territory or whatever. And I was the most depressed I'd ever been in my life.
Yeah.
At that time, because of her, she brought me down to that level where I was just so unhappy with everything because she was taking up all of my energy all the time. I suppose that's not really a funny story, but it's a good life lesson, isn't it? Don't end up with the wrong woman.
Yeah, but then do you ever know what's the right one?
I think your tastes change as you get older, but if you can find a woman who can grow with you, then that's the right woman for you. I've got to say, I'm in a good relationship right now.
Yeah.
I'm not even just saying that for the camera. They will, like, you have your arguments, they get pissed off at you, but they still want you, and you still know they want you, and you still want them.
Yeah.
And you work through it, and even when you go through like the shittest of times where you're properly arguing with each other, you've got that deep knowledge that you still want each other, so you're still willing to work on it together and come to a conclusion in some way. And I think it leads to growth that way, because we'll have conversations where we're like, well, I want this from you, you know, I don't like that you did that, can you try and improve on that? And she'll say the same thing to me, and then we will end up sorting our problems out that way, instead of just fucking shouting at each other, and then we hate each other, and then we don't talk about it 2 days later, and you just come together and you have make-up sex. That's not the way to do it. You've got to talk through your problems, I think, in a relationship.
I think it's different for me. I think I was kind of the way I was with not having relationships, because my parents had split up when I was in primary school.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like virtually the whole of my life, near enough.
Yeah.
It was like I hadn't been around sort of seen relationships, how they work and stuff like that. I mean, my mum was with someone, but he didn't live with us. He was a cool guy and whatever, but it's not the same, is it? You know, like you've been brought up in a household where your mum and dad are together, so you see the good and bad, and like you see how they work through things and stuff like that.
I wouldn't say they're a shining example, but they do all right.
No,
you know?
but like even the bad times is good for you to learn from.
Yeah,
if you don't have that to learn, then you're fearful. I feel like I was fearful of making their mistakes.
Right.
So like having the kids young, like they probably had kids at like 21, 22, and then broke up, you know. So for me it was like, fuck that. I don't want that. Like I want to live my life first, get successful, do what I need to do, and girls will come and go as I'm going on that journey.
And then you attract a higher caliber girl anyway, because you've gone on that journey.
Yeah, like now I would say in my 30s, now I'm actually at the point to settle down. It's like I'm happy, you know, I'm happy to do that now.
Yeah.
But I was never happy before to do that.
Right, okay, because of the person you were.
Yeah, I just think it didn't suit my lifestyle. I was away all the time. All the time I was going out with my friends, I was enjoying myself, doing all the things that I think guys should do. The only thing that I said, like I said earlier, that I fucked up on was, instead of, I was having too much fun.
Yeah.
Because I should have been, rather than just doing well, earning money and showing off the money, like showing nice cars and this, that and the other, I should have been putting it into something. And if I'd put it into something, then I wouldn't have to work as hard as I still do now, because by now I'd already be set.
Yeah, true.
The amount of money I've earned over the years.
But then hard work is a good thing, I think. Like, as long as you're doing something that you know has a future to it. I think this is the problem men have when they're in a job that has no sort of, what's the word, end goal for them. It doesn't help them achieve that end. No growth, yeah. Like there's no opportunity for real promotion. There's no real satisfaction in the job. I'm great with what I do right now. I work bloody hard, mate. I work from like 7 in the morning till 9 at night sometimes. But I know it all has a purpose. If I put the work in now, the money doubles, the more clients grow, I get to help more people. I mean, it's a satisfying job anyway, because
yeah, well, it's yours, isn't it? Like, it's yours. So the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. But you don't have that attitude necessarily when you work for somebody. You should do. I mean,
but sales is good, because sales, the more work you put in, you get more commission.
Yeah, the only job I would ever advise people get, if you're not going to work for yourself, is get a commission-based job.
Yeah.
Because if you get a commission-based job like sales, there's no time constraint to how much money you can earn.
Yeah.
So like for me now, I could do 5 deals in a day and make a good few grand in one day. Whereas when I was working as an electrician, working for myself, no matter how many hours I wanted to put in to earn more money, because believe me, I would work till like 9 o'clock at night sometimes. It still has to come to a stop.
Yeah.
Physically, you can't carry on, and there's not enough hours in the day, but you still have a time constraint to how long it takes you to get the job done. So if I could do a job in a rewire, let's say, and a rewire might take 2-3 weeks, depending on the size of the house, it might take 2 weeks, it might take a week.
Yeah.
But if I could get it all done in a week every time and maximise the money, then I would do. But it's not always like that. Whereas if you're in commission-based job, there's no time to how much money you can earn.
Yeah.
Because you can pick the phone up and make a fucking 20 grand sale and get 10% from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or 5%.
So the harder you work, the more you get out of it. I've never worked a job where I can put in minimum effort and still, what
What
the
the
fuck is
fuck
that,
is
mate?
Jesus, that looked like that girl that came down from Cambridge.
Fat fuck, wasn't it? Oh, take it to Ferry Meadows.
Cool. Why would you say that men need to be in shape?
Why do men need to be in shape?
Yeah, what's the value for them?
Oh my God, there's so much. I could go on a flipping monologue about this. So, first of all, I think your general confidence levels increase.
Yeah.
And that is going to impact every aspect of your life. If you're more confident in yourself, you're going to do better deals in your job. You're going to have better relationships with women. They're going to respect you more. Your peers are going to respect you more. You're going to have more of a brotherhood as well, because you're going to be able to hang out with higher value men. People don't think about this thing when they think about fitness. They just think, oh, it's all vanity, you know, abs, big chest, stuff like that. And that helps, because if you look good, I think you feel good, and people respect people that look good and, you know, are kept well. But I just think the confidence is massive. The energy levels that you'll get from working out, you invest that hour of time to work out, you don't come out of that workout feeling like shit. You come out of that workout with more energy, and then you go into the next day feeling a little bit fitter. And mate, especially for a job like sales, for example, you're on the phone with a bit more tonation in your voice, a bit more energy in your voice. You might hit a sale that you might not otherwise hit. And then for relationship stuff, women like a guy who's in shape, don't they?
Yeah.
They think they don't care. Some of them think they don't care, for example, but it will never be a negative. Unless
It's
you're
never gonna be a
fucking
negative.
jacked, obviously, and you're too big. But women will never look at a man who's in shape and think, oh, he's too in shape.
Yeah.
They will always look at a man who's not in shape, though, and a few of them will go, oh, he's not in shape, he's not for me. So there's no negative to being in shape. The only logical decision is to be in shape, because you'll have a better relationship with your woman, with women in general.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about, like, if you're in a relationship right now. If your wife looks at you, driving yourself better, making yourself, you know, more energetic, more confident, she's going to respect you more. Your kids are then going to look up to you and think, oh, my daddy's a fit daddy. He's one that goes to the gym. There's no negatives to it. And all you got to do is invest an hour of your time, maybe 3 or 4 times a week, into it, and you get all the benefits out of it.
Yeah.
So you can make the decision then. Do you want to be that guy that sits at home watching shitty Love Island? What value do you get out of Love Island, other than like an hour of entertainment? What value do you get out of it? Absolutely nothing. What value do you get out of an hour of fitness?
Yeah.
Everything I've just talked about. A man has got to be in shape.
Yeah.
Do you think that?
For me, it's, let's go back to the point where you said about your women respect you more and so on and so forth. I don't even know if it's that. I just think as a man, you need to be able to keep your woman on on her toes.
Yeah, okay.
And I think it's the like, when you're a man that's in shape, a woman's always going to be fearful that she can lose you.
Yeah, because you're getting more attention.
Because you're getting more attention, right? And I think if you're the guy that just makes it so easy at home, you start to lose your physique, then there's no fear of loss.
Yeah.
And in sales, you always understand that fear of loss is important.
It's psychology.
It's
Isn't it?
psychology, yeah. And when you said about sales and fitness, you know, I agree with that. I think that for me, sales is such an up and down roller coaster of a job, because 1 minute you're smashing it, you're making loads of sales, the next minute you're not, and it's so up and down, up and down, up and down. And the key thing that Jim gives you in that kind of role is the discipline. Because it's like when you go to the gym,
that bit, discipline.
yeah,
That's huge.
It's like when you go to the gym, it's like you don't fucking want to go to the gym and lift weights. Like, it's boring. For me personally, it's boring.
No, I find it boring as well, mate. I don't turn up to the gym to entertain myself.
No, it's boring. But when you're doing it, it's the fact that you've disciplined enough to do something that you didn't want to do. And for me, it was always like that. Like when I first came training with you, it was like the only reason why I came is because I had you to come to.
Yeah.
Because to go on my own, I wouldn't have had that level of discipline, because I'm not that disciplined with something that I don't necessarily enjoy.
Yeah.
And fitness for me isn't there to be enjoyed. It's there to keep your mind active, keep you in that alpha mindset. You know, when you feel strong, when you feel strong, you feel confident as a man. And so going to the gym always gives you that air of arrogance anyway, which gives you the air of confidence, which then portrays onto people around you. And so it's just, like you said, it only has a positive. There's no negatives to it.
Yeah. What I kind of missed the bit on there, keeping your woman on her toes. So why does a woman like a Louis Vuitton handbag? Why does she like all these material things? Like Madison's fucking always buying this designer shit. And I do not give a shit about designer clothes. But why do they care? It's because it's a status symbol, isn't it? A man can be a status symbol for a woman. If you're an attractive, good-looking man,
Yeah.
and your woman sees that other girls are also attracted to you,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have to be out there flirting or like putting your body out there,
No.
but you're now a status symbol for her. She can now go, and she didn't even have to say it to her mates, but she knows in her head, I've got the man that every girl wants to be with.
Yeah.
I'm winning.
They need to feel like that.
Exactly. And then you get like another level of respect that you would never get if you weren't that guy. And fitness has been really important for that for me. And I think because it ties into my job, it's really important as well. But then there's other aspects to it as well. Keeping yourself ambitious. So one of the stats I saw was that women are primarily attracted to a man's ambition. And even if they're a bloody taxi driver, as long as they're a taxi driver that says, I'm a taxi driver right now, but I have plans in the future to get one guy to working under me. He's going to take 50% commission. I'll get the other 50%. And then we'll get 2 drivers, 3 drivers, 4 drivers. She then thinks in her head, God, that's a guy that could provide for me. That's a guy with a bit of status about him. Same thing with fitness. If you're a guy that can keep yourself in shape, that other girls are looking at, and you've got the discipline and the drive to get yourself to the gym when you don't really want to be, you are now a status symbol to your woman, and she is going to be so much happier with you because she's going to respect you more.
100%. 100% agree with that. I think you need your own. You need to do it for your own peace of mind anyway.
Yeah, like mental health wise, I always feel better after a workout.
Yeah. I mean, like when I used to go boxing and stuff, hitting the bags, when you've had a stressful day and you're hitting the bags or hitting pads, like it's that release.
Yeah.
Release of pressure, release of tension. You go home, you're not angry, you've had your little release, and you can go home and you can be the happy person that you need to be. Because often I think as men, like when we're going through that hard time at work, let's say, we're always going through a hard time at work because we're always trying to push for more and more and more.
Yeah.
Unless you're just not ambitious. It's stressful and you don't want to ever show your weakness. And I think that the people that don't go gym, they have to vent in some way. So what they tend to do, I believe, because I've been guilty of this myself in the past, is that they start to vent their problems to their woman. And I don't believe that you should do that, because I think that it makes you look weak.
I think you can talk about it. I think you can talk about it, but venting, definitely.
Yeah,
not
I think they start to see you as a bit of a loser.
But it's not just that. It's not fair, because I think your masculine role is to be strong, to be the emotional anchor. If you can't be that emotional anchor, if you're the guy that's there creating drama, going home and being like, oh, I've had such a shit day at work, this happened, and she has to sit there and listen to you and be your therapist, basically, she's not going to respect you, because she's going to see you as a weaker man. I'm not saying you can't talk to your woman, but you just 5 minutes, nip it in the bud. This is why I feel that way, and then you carry on. Be strong.
You got to always be seen to be strong, because we're always competing. So even other guys, if you're walking around the fucking shop with your missus and your missus is looking 10 out of 10, and you've started to let yourself go a little bit, you get the sense, you can feel guys are fucking looking at her and thinking, and
you feel jealous.
Why is she with him?
Your woman, and your woman will always reassure you. She'll be like, you know what, you're the only man for me. You're the only man I look at. But it's not good for your peace of mind, because you don't think that about yourself.
Nah. And I don't think that they really are honest anyway. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they want to make you feel good, so they'll say things that will make you feel good in that moment.
They're not going to tell you I was checking out some other guy.
Yeah, maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but why risk it? Just keep yourself in shape. It's bloody easy.
Keep yourself in shape. Fucking don't let yourself fall into the trap of being stuck at home, depressed, not having your own friends, your own lifestyle. I think you then start to become a bit like a woman's friend.
Feminized.
Yeah, like, so they'll come home and they'll tell you about their dramas, and it'll get to the point where you want to listen to their dramas.
You're like, you're begging for it.
Yeah, like, let me hear you drama, and then you just become one of their mates, which is...
You stop having sex.
Yeah, like, you become like one of their female friends, and I think that, like, you need to keep that separate. I would say that you need at least two times a week to meet up with your boys, and keep the manhood strong.
Yeah.
And then you need your own time, going to the gym, doing manly shit away from the missus. And then when you're with your missus, you can be a little bit more vulnerable, but
you can have more quality time then as well. I see the men who's stuck in the trap of the only person they really talk to is their missus. You're not gonna, like, she might be the loveliest person in the world. Yeah. But she's not gonna drive you the same way a man does.
Well, she can't give you the advice if she's not doing the same thing that you're doing, or understands what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not coming from a bad place. It's like, how can you get advice from a woman about man shit, because she's not a man?
Yeah.
You know, she'll give you a woman's advice for a scenario in their world.
It's like if she came to you and was like, oh, how should I do my nails? How should I do my makeup? You'd be like, I don't fucking know.
I'll be like,
Whatever makes you look pretty.
I'll be like, how much does it cost?
Yeah, have the money.
No, I'll be like, get beer. Does the same thing. No, it's one of them, innit? It's like you say, you can't give advice on that shit. I'm just like, I don't know, whatever.
Cool, that's been good, mate. I've enjoyed this episode. Well, I think it's a bit time to wrap up. Do you want to say anything that will get us cancelled? ABC, about to be cancelled.
ABC. Do I want to say anything that's about to get us cancelled?
I think we've, you know, between the vicar and the fat birds, I think we've...
No, listen, like, for me, I really wanted to do this with you because we come from different backgrounds, but we are very close. We've grown together, and we can showcase to people the two different lifestyles. So hopefully we can resonate with as many people as possible. Also, like, if people listen and they get something out of this, then that would make me happy.
That's the whole point of it, isn't it?
Yeah. The whole, you know, the name is, in my opinion, is chosen because we were just trying to portray that we're going to speak naturally, speak the truth, and if it offends some people, then so be it. But, you know,
anyone listening, if you've been offended by this, our intention isn't to offend.
I don't think we've said anything that bad anyway.
We haven't really, nah. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's only the first one. Give us some time. But
we'll go on some wild topics soon.
Yeah, but what I would say is, for me, it's just about, again, having that time with a mate.
Yeah.
Doing something fun. If it goes somewhere, if people listen to it and they like it, then great. We'll carry on doing more, and it will make me happy to see that we could potentially help some younger people,
or even men who are older than us who maybe aren't happy with their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the people we've become, we've got a lot of stories to share and a lot of info to share, and I hope people find that useful.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, this is the ABC show about to be cancelled. This could be the last episode, probably not. We'll probably do some more. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Peace.
Have a good evening.
Have a good evening.